Hey everybody, welcome back to Dorm Squad Sports, college sports podcast focusing on Alabama athletics. As always, I'm here, Dakota, with Brian and Oakley. We got a great episode for y'all this week. We're going to talk about the Mississippi State game. That's what we're going to jump into. We're also going to try to build a contender that could contend with Alabama. And, of course, as always, we're going to make our picks. But we're starting with this Mississippi State game. I know, all of us saw it, obviously. And what were y'all thinking when you watched the game? And now that it's been a few days, what are you taking from it?
My biggest takeaway is that it was freezing. I literally couldn't feel my hands or feet after the game. But, I mean, obviously, I think maybe the cold had a little bit of a hit into like how we played. I don't know how much of a hit, but I'm sure that it took a little bit of a hit. Tua looked less Tua. So, I mean, maybe he's used to the Hawaiian weather. I don't know. But I assume we'll bounce back this week.
Now, you're talking about the cold. You had gloves and toboggan on, so I don't want to hear it. Because I didn't have either of those things.
Well, that's not my fault.
It isn't. I'm just saying, it was even worse. Maddie had my jacket for the first half, and then she had to go because she was sick. And, I was sad because she wasn't there, and I was just sitting there. But then I was also but I had my jacket. So, I'm feeling a little bit better. I only say that because I know she's not going to listen to the podcast. So I'm not worried about her getting upset. What'd you see, Bryant?
I think one of the things that, me, myself, and, let's be honest, some Alabama fans are very delusional. But, this Alabama team, I think it showed that it is beatable. You've got to play pretty close to perfect to beat them. But I think Tua's knee's definitely bothering him right now. I think you can tell that. But the offense looked very good in the first couple drives. Mississippi State played very aggressive on defense after the first drive. They started blitzing a lot, kind of guessing. The defense looked good overall. They got some help. We got some help with the officials there towards the end of the second half. But Alabama, I still think they're the best team in college football. But they got some things they need to improve on, and they can't walk into any game and think that Tua's going to throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns and they're going to win. They're going to have to play good as a whole team.
Yeah, let's expand on Tua's knee for a second. So first off, do y'all think Mississippi State was actually going after his knee? Of course, there's some videos that came up on Twitter, and I think they kind of were. I don't think they were doing it maliciously.
Yeah, you hate to speculate about that kind of stuff, but in the video, he put his helmet right on his knee. It is football, but you can make a case for that kind of stuff. Maybe they was going for his knee. I don't know. If you're Alabama, you might as well be prepared for that kind of stuff because it's not stopping anytime soon. So
I'm not gonna say they were, but I'm definitely not gonna say that they were trying to avoid hitting his knee because
definitely.
Yeah.
And part of it is just like you said, we're gonna have to face that. I understand the whole. You don't want to look ahead and you don't want to, disrespect an opponent by not putting your best team out there. But I'd personally be okay if he sat a game or two. I know Nick Saban's not going to do that, and Saban keeps saying that he's okay and that knee is not an issue. But do you guys think that's an issue, moving forward? Or do you think after – because they said he could come back in the game, but he didn't because it was, already – the lead was expanded.
Saban said that he's over his knee issue, but it doesn't look like it. I do think a little bit of it is he's very uncomfortable wearing that brace. I know, before he I think it was for the Tennessee game, a few games before that, you would see him start wearing the big braces at the beginning of the game, and then by the second quarter he would have taken it off just because, it bothered him, I think. But it's just one of those things where, it's not a real serious injury. It's just one of those things it's kind of a nagging, it's an annoying thing. It's just probably going to take a whole off season to completely get over, not just 5 days and then play again.
Yeah, I read today, I don't know, there's a lot of truth to this, but because I don't remember where I read it from, but I read that instead of wearing that huge knee brace, he was wearing a sleeve now, so maybe he'll be more comfortable in that. I don't know. I don't know if that's just for practice either. He may wear the big brace for the game because it's probably more structurally sound on his knee.
Would y'all be okay with him not wearing the knee brace? Or do y'all think that he just has to have it?
No, today in practice he wasn't wearing the knee brace.
But in an actual game, where you have Auburn people coming after him, are y'all comfortable putting him out there without a brace?
I'm not if he's out there without a brace, then it's obviously okay for him to be out there. They ain't gonna put him out there if if it's serious.
Yeah, that's true. Jeff Allen's the best
It's
in the
a-
business. He wouldn't put him out there if
Yeah.
if he was at risk.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's definitely the best. All right, now let's expand upon all the Tua talk and get into this Heisman race. I honestly believe that Kyler Murray closed that gap just a little bit. He's now getting first place votes in the ESPN Heisman poll, but I think it's mostly just because they're in competitive games and he gets to have those Heisman moments even though it's against teams that he shouldn't have to have it against. And it's just, victim of the system. And when you're on the best offense and the best team, you're not going to have those moments because you're going to be blowing everybody out. But do you think Tua has to have one of those moments to win this in the next 3 weeks?
I think it just depends a lot on what the other guys do. Tua's gonna have a shot against Georgia in the championship game. Alabama's not gonna win that game by 4 touchdowns. It's not gonna happen, but he'll have a shot. In my mind, it comes down to it comes down to this: are you more enamored that Kyler Murray's got more yards, more touchdowns, stuff like that, or are you? I think Tua's played better. He just hasn't played as much. And I think Tua's making better throws. Kyler Murray, I mean, he's going to play baseball after this probably. He's probably not going to be an NFL quarterback.
He's definitely not. He's already gotten that money.
But yeah, I just think if you're just looking at stats, then Kyler Murray, you might vote for Kyler Murray. But I think if you watch the games, I think you just look at what Tua does. I still think he's a front runner, but I do think Kyler Murray has closed the gap a good bit.
Do you think he'll be able to get past him? Either y'all?
I mean, it depends on what he does coming up against West Virginia and then possibly West Virginia again. If he really shows out in those games. Maybe.
Yeah, he there is definitely a way where he could pass him. I don't think it'll happen, but yeah. It could. It's not in the bag.
Yeah, of course, all the betting odds have, moved out of Tua's favor just a hair. But he's still the front runner. And like we said, if he'll be the reason we win that Georgia game, assuming we win the Georgia game, especially since, Jalen's still kind of up in the air. And if that happens, I think that's enough of a Heisman moment because the whole dialogue is going to be Georgia's had a whole year to learn how to stop Tua. They couldn't do it for that second half and the overtime. Can they do it now? And if they can't, I really think then they're just going to be like, okay, Tua's the best. Send that trophy to Tuscaloosa, put it in the trophy case with the other two. And another thing about the Heisman, there's some votes coming up for Quinnen Williams, and everyone always wants to put, a defense person in the Heisman race. Obviously, he has 0 chance to win. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put a penny on him winning at 1,000,000 to 1 odds. But do you think he can make it to New York in any scenario?
I don't see it. I think it has a lot more to do with Alabama bias than is he just more deserving? Alabama, with just what they're going through, and they're probably already going to send Tua to the Heisman. I don't even remember the last time a team sent 2 players. But if there was a defensive player worthy this season, it would definitely be Quinnen.
Man, it'd take a lot of chaos for that to happen. The Greer and Murray would just have to start sucking really bad. And Minshew, to that matter, I don't see it. Of course it's possible that it happens, but a lot of chaos would have to ensue.
Not only that, but Quinnen would he'd have to still be coming up with a couple of sacks a game, like he has been. Which it's possible, but sacks can kind of be kind
of a luck thing.
Yeah, it can be sometimes. Just because you didn't get the sack doesn't mean you're not doing your job. Sometimes the person just gets to clean up or whatever. But
yeah,
I'd be glad for him if he does, but I don't see it happening.
My thing is we don't see a lot of schools send 2 people to New York, but that's also because it's always okay, well, this is the guy for the team. And they start stealing votes from each other in an offense. You don't have a quarterback and a wide receiver, even though one is throwing to the other. It's either the quarterback can only throw to that guy and it goes to the wide receiver, or the quarterback can throw to everyone and it goes to the quarterback. Same thing with the quarterback running back. You're either a running game, you give it to him, or a quarterback passing game, you give it to the QB. But with them being on offense and defense, they don't have to compete with each other because they're literally never on the field at the same time. Like I say, I don't think it's going to happen because I think he's going to be where that drop off happens. Maybe it's above him at Travis Etienne, and Etienne gets cut out, and then Quinn Williams. Obviously, he hasn't gotten a lot of votes and no votes in the top two, maybe a couple third place votes. I don't know. I'd like to see it at the very least.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Oh gosh, Danny Cannell would explode. His brain would explode. And I'm always here for Danny Cannell's brain to explode. Okay, up next, we're going to pick a team to beat Alabama. So pretty much we've listed all the position groups, quarterback, running back core, on offense and defense, coaching staff, special teams, the whole nine. The only trick is we can't pick a team twice. So one school per position and one position per school. And we're going to just take turns until we fill us all out, and we're just going to see where it takes us. And I'll just go first. So I'm just going to go with quarterback because I think it's the biggest thing. And although I honestly think that Hunter Lawrence – it's Trevor Lawrence, isn't it? I honestly think Trevor Lawrence is the best player to take, but I think Clemson has a lot of other things to offer, and I think that it's better for the whole team if we don't take him because that leaves up the D-line or even the coaching staff. So I'm going to take Kyler Murray, probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks. Definitely has the dual threat. Dual threat's always giving us problems. So I'm going to fill him in at the quarterback. Y'all can take whatever position y'all want.
All right, well, I'll just go down the line and take the running backs. I thought really hard about taking Georgia here because of Holyfield and Swift, but I have Georgia somewhere else. Like if we make it that far, but I had Ohio State. I think Mike Weber is that veteran for them, and he's a pretty good overall running back. And J.K. Dobbins is that young guy. He can tell he's gonna be one of the next good ones at Ohio State, and so that 1-2 punch is really good.
Yeah. All right, I'll go wide receiver. There's some good wide receiving groups around the country. I didn't really think long and hard about this, but just come to mind like West Virginia, they got some good wide receivers. Oklahoma's got some good wide receivers, but I think when you look at Ole Miss, they got A.J. Brown, and he's possible first round pick, and just some other guys, who we saw firsthand when we played them. But they got some really good wide receivers, and I think that if they had a good quarterback and a better offensive line, those guys could present some problems for Alabama's defensive backs.
Yeah, definitely with wide receiver, Ole Miss is a good way to go. Another team is Michigan's always an option there, but you can't go wrong with Ole Miss. I think if they had a quarterback this year, then they definitely wouldn't have given us a lot more fits when we played them. And we even saw in the first play, if you put the ball in their hands, that you never know what they can do. Let's see. I guess I'll just go ahead and do tight ends. I'm just gonna keep going down the list. I think I'll take Iowa for that. Of course, I think they have the number one tight end coming out in the draft this year. Number 2 is probably Irv Smith, but they got number 1, and a lot of people have him high on their boards. And he's not their only guy. So, and we're not going to pick Iowa for anywhere else unless we're picking like an environment maybe. But I'll take Iowa.
Another team for tight end possibly would be in Stanford.
Yeah,
2
true.
of their top 4 receivers are tight ends. Caden Smith, second in receptions, has 47 receptions for 635 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then Colby Parkinson, not as many yards, but he has 7 receiving touchdowns, and that's pretty good for a tight end in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go with the O-line. I'm going to take Wisconsin. All their guys came back from last year whenever Jonathan Taylor had that huge year, and they have a few guys wanting to are thinking about going pretty high in the draft maybe. So I took Wisconsin there.
Defensive line, I'm going with Clemson. Just as a whole, these guys are probably one of the best in the country. I think the only team that really matches them is probably Alabama, maybe Michigan, but I go with Clemson on the D-line.
Okay. All right. So all we have left is coaching staff, special teams, linebackers, and secondary. I'll go ahead and do special teams, and I'll take Georgia. since we went ahead and got D-line off the board, of course, Georgia has a solid defensive line. And, of course, they have solid linebackers as well. But I think that with Rodrigo Blankenship, probably one of the toughest kickers in the game, definitely one of the most popular kickers. And they also got a good return man, so I'll take Georgia for special teams.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and this is probably the easiest one, the secondary. Bama has good secondary, but I think that like LSU hands down has the best secondary in the nation. All those guys, Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit, Battle, all those guys are future first rounders probably, and we saw it firsthand how good it was. We did pretty well against throwing the ball, but still you could tell the talent was there.
I think an underrated secondary that's probably not that far behind LSU is probably Washington's. They got some NFL talent in that secondary that'll definitely go on and play in the NFL. LSU's is good as well too. Linebackers, Michigan. Yeah, I mean it's not really many compared to Michigan, in my opinion. Wisconsin has some decent linebackers. Miami as well, but I took Michigan.
Yeah, that's probably a good pick. So all that's left is coaching staff. What do y'all think for coaching staff?
I mean, the only one I could think of was FAU with Lane Kiffin. Like, if you're thinking anybody to beat Bama, take one that the coach there knows the players, and that kind of offense can really tear us up, or could.
Yeah. I mean, if we could pick anyone, obviously I think you'd pick Clemson just because they're the only team in recent memory who's done it. Maybe Ohio State. And I think Washington's another option. But at the very least, it'd be fun if it's FAU. Let's just be honest. Having Lane Kiffin have a talented team going up against Alabama, Twitter would explode.
I mean, if you had Lane Kiffin with Kyler Murray, Ole Miss's wide receivers, and Ohio State's running backs, then it's going to be a murder.
Oh, Lord.
If we're like doing the thing where you can't take multiple teams because we've already took something from Ohio State and we've already took something from Clemson,
yeah,
who are you taking?
If we didn't do that?
No, if we did do that, you got to take somebody just because obviously I'm pretty sure every one of us would either say Urban or Dabo, probably.
Washington has a relatively good.
If you could take
staff.
anybody, my bad. My bad. I asked that wrong. Like you can't take those teams that we've already selected. You got to take somebody. So you say Washington?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna take Lane Kiffin and FAU just for the show. Mm-hmm. But if I was being 100% serious, I think I might have to take Washington. Of course, they.
I think Washington's a good pick. I think that's a solid pick. I think I would take Jimbo Fisher and his coaching staff.
I didn't think about it.
Against if we couldn't take Urban or Dabo, because I think there's 4 active coaches who've won national championships: Saban, Urban, Dabo, and Jimbo.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you can't go wrong. Honestly, that's probably a good bet. But
a good rule of thumb is just to take anybody who's ever beaten Saban.
True, but who's left? Let's be honest. Who's left?
I don't know about that because you have Gus in that category, and I don't want nowhere near Gus.
That's a dumpster fire right now.
Oh God. Okay.
Also, Urban's in that category, and you see what's going on.
Hugh Freeze in that category.
Oh God.
Well, he's not. He doesn't have a job right now. So I'm talking about the people who are employed.
Oh God. He's not even getting a friggin' internship at this point. So just to recap it. Quarterback Kyler Murray, Ohio State's running backs, Ole Miss's wide receivers, Iowa's tight ends, Wisconsin's O-line, Clemson D-line, Michigan linebackers, LSU secondary, Georgia special teams, and for the heck of it, FAU's coaching staff. Does this team beat Alabama?
I mean, I would say yeah.
You think so? You think this is what it would take to beat Alabama?
If anybody could screw it up, it would be Lane. No, I'm kidding.
Let's be honest. Now, let's put just an absolute a true idiot at head coach. I think we beat him, honestly. I think you're going to have a good coach to do it as well.
You will.
Did you say special teams?
Georgia special teams.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even know.
If we're talking special teams, it's kind of like a broad because you got returners and but we're talking punters and kickers Utah, they got very good punters and kickers. I believe their punter has beaten out J.K. Scott a couple years for that best punter in football
Yeah.
award.
Now, another punter for MVP, and we used him for running backs, but Ohio State's punter, he won them the game against Michigan. Was it Michigan State? Or I don't remember. One of the games they played, literally college football final gave him a helmet sticker just because no one was scoring and he kept pinning them back within like the 5-yard line, and that's why they won the game. They just maintained field position. It was whoever they played this past week.
Michigan State.
No, was it Michigan State?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They were the ones that like snapped it and had an intentional safety.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's. I don't think I've ever seen someone intentionally score a safety if they weren't winning, like leading.
Yeah.
You know, like of course we saw it in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but that was like to kill clock. I never seen someone be down and be like, okay, let's give them 2 more points and the football, and then I'll like where we're at. But whatever, it is what it is. So, of course, this week is always known to be the cupcake week, especially in the SEC. I think there's one SEC versus SEC matchup, and everyone else is playing someone who they, if the SEC doesn't go undefeated this week in non-conference games, then it's a disappointment for the SEC. If we're just gonna be absolutely honest, do y'all think that we need to get rid of this cupcake week to like boost straight the schedule?
Yeah, I think it should be gotten rid of. Like, some people complain like it's not fair that Alabama and like teams like this in the SEC get to play and nobody. And I mean it's kind of like right, it really isn't fair. But I think this is more of a NCAA thing where they need to step in and like say every conference is playing X amount of games or whatever, X amount of conference games, and then you have X amount of non-conference games. Because no matter how you try, no conference is going to be equal. But especially when one conference is having to play 9 conference games and then one conference playing 8 conference games, it's even more unequal. But also, I just think it's better for the game, if Alabama's not playing the Citadel, really just this whole week, like you said, like it's just filled with not good games. It's not good for the game when there's no good games on this Saturday. But I would like to see them get rid of it, and I think eventually they probably will.
Yeah, I think they probably will.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing would probably be like the driving them to do that be the money. People are not going to watch Alabama play the Citadel as much as they would Alabama play, say, another SEC team like South Carolina or Kentucky or whatever. Like, it's not going to be like those teams are not going to be as big, but like if we play another like East team, then obviously people would watch more of that. They would make more money, and money is the driving factor in many things.
If just as an idea as to how few people are going to go to this game. So we paid $10 for every student ticket, no matter if it's the Iron Bowl or the Citadel. That's $4 more than what I paid to go to a high school football game, and they still were able to donate the entire upper bowl student section to charity this week. They're putting everyone who usually fits in both upper and lower into just the lower bowl student section, and they know that enough people aren't going to show up, and they're going to be able to donate those tickets to charity. That's insane to me. That, like, I mean, I'm one to talk because I sold my ticket for $5, but still, just having so many people watch the best team ever, and they're still they don't want to go. They don't care about this game. Saban wants to get everyone, riled up, and every game matters, and you can't take days off. But it's the Citadel, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, to his defense, he wants to play those games, but like it's hard to find people that want to play number 1 Alabama, especially at the peak of where we are right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. Maybe in a year or two, we'll start playing some more conference games. But I mean, I think I put it on the Twitter page. If you are the best team, or at least the best conference, you kind of deserve a week off every now and then, just because you're going to beat each other up. But in terms of a grand scheme of things, I do think it makes sense to put that extra SEC game in. Okay, so up next, we are going to look ahead to this week. Of course, like we've said, hopefully we're going to get our players out relatively soon. But what do y'all think we need to work on, and do y'all have any concerns?
My only concern is people getting hurt. I know that sounds bad, but like I mean, they do need to work on some stuff, I guess. I mean, there's always stuff to improve on, like I said earlier, by what we learned. But just get to this game healthy. Hopefully get a ton of experience for guys in the backups positions. But and hopefully, like I said, maybe get Mac Jones some more reps. Maybe some more offensive linemen some reps. Build some more depth on the defensive line. A guy I hope to see play a lot this weekend is Ayabi Anoma. I don't think he played at all this past week against Mississippi State, but he got in the game towards the end against LSU down there. So this kid has huge potential, and I'd like to see him get in some this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same thing as it is every time we play a cupcake, like against Arkansas State, against Lafayette. We just want to see people not get hurt, and we want to see the depth, how they perform, and get them some experience. That's really the two main things you want to see in any cupcake game you play.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is just like you said, we got to get out of there. You go in quick, you score your first couple drives, you show your dominance, and you get those other people playing. But like I said, I don't really think that there's much to be concerned about except to his knee. But while y'all are making comments in the freaking page that we have where we have all our picks, let's go ahead and go into the picks. Up first, Iowa State versus Texas. Oh Lord, this is going off the rails. So I'll go first. Honestly, I hate the Big 12 so much right now, and I usually get the Texas game wrong. I got it right. Like, I picked them to come back, and then they came back and said that they were still here, and then they lost, and I don't even know what to do at this point. But I think I'm just going to have to take Texas again. It's put up or shut up time, and I think Sam Ehlinger's going to be able to pull it off, and Texas wins this game.
There's the old saying, dance with the one you came with. That's yours exactly. As of right now. Yeah, I'm taking Texas too. The Iowa State quarterback Brock Purdy, he's been doing really well this year, and we wanted him as our back or as part of our 2018 recruiting class. But yeah, I think Sam Ehlinger and the Longhorns take this one.
Hook 'em.
All needs to be said. All right, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma, you can take this one first.
Oh yeah, I'm taking West Virginia. State's been looked okay recently, especially against Texas, but I don't think that but the Mountaineers have been looking better. West Virginia and Will Grier, he's just been on top of his game so far. He had a little bit of a slide like a few weeks ago, but he's looking better, and I think they get this one.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State has had some disappointments in terms of games that they probably should have won that they haven't, or upset bids that they made and they couldn't finish. But Will Grier's playing his best ball, the best ball of his whole career, in all honesty. He's trying to put himself in that first-round draft position, which in such a bad quarterback class, it could happen. And I think that's going to carry him, and that's going to carry West Virginia to the win.
Yeah, it's probably another one of those games where there's tons and tons of points scored, but I'll take Will Grier and West Virginia to win it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to watch. All right, up next, Syracuse, Notre Dame. I've been talking about this game a solid 3 weeks, but Bryant, you can take it first.
Yeah, so I'm going to start off hot right here, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm taking Syracuse this Saturday for the upset. Notre Dame, they did look impressive when they looked more impressive when they changed to Ian Book at quarterback. But, these past few weeks, I think maybe we've overhyped it a little bit. We thought Virginia Tech was a good win. We thought Stanford was a good win. But, turns out Virginia Tech and Stanford weren't as good a teams that we thought they were. And Syracuse has played some tough games this year. They played tough against Clemson. I believe their only losses are to Pittsburgh. I think it was the first game of the season. And then Clemson and Pittsburgh and Clemson are both two of the best teams in the ACC. And I think this is a game played in Yankee Stadium, right?
Yep.
I think Syracuse, I think they go in there and I think they get the job done against Notre Dame, and they create some chaos for the college football playoff committee.
Yeah, we definitely need something big to happen this week. And honestly, the way I've been talking, I think I have to pick Syracuse. They have the chance to ruin a season, And playing in Yankee Stadium, of course, that's going to be a crazy environment, especially for Syracuse. Still have the home advantage. And I have to say this again. Notre Dame has the ugliest uniforms ever of all time. Oh my God, how are they going to let that tradition go to waste with these uniforms? You cannot be in something that disgusting and play well. I'm sorry. How can you be one of the best, tradition schools and put yourself out there in these, no offense to the Yankees because they make it look good, but the combination of the tradition with the pinstripes, oh God, it's so bad. I'm not really a uniform, follower. I don't really care that much, but these are so disgusting. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch this game. They're going to be so ugly. But yeah, so I have Syracuse coming out with the win in the upset.
You boys are trying to toast me for not taking upsets, but you're supposed to pick the ones that you think are going to win. And, I mean, there's no way Syracuse beats Notre Dame here. They did beat Michigan, which I understand is early in the season, but it's still that's without Ian Book. I understand that Michigan's also gotten better. But still, I mean, even if you asked me last week, I might have said Syracuse, but especially this week since Ian Book is back from that injury, I think that he's going to lead them to the win, and y'all are going to see that on Saturday.
I get you pick who you think's going to win, but I think if you went with your picks all the time, we would never change the top 25 ever.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I picked somebody last week. I don't know who I picked to lose.
I picked Notre Dame. Northwestern.
Yeah, I picked Northwestern last week, but in my I played ESPN College Pick'em on but I didn't pick Northwestern in that because I'm actually trying to win that, but here just trying to create some. But I did think Northwestern had a chance to win last week. I really did. But
if we're trying to create some controversy, then since both of you are picking Syracuse, I might as well just pick Notre Dame.
All right, bet. We still haven't. We haven't picked anything that the loser has to do or that the winner gets. So I guess this really doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of people talking into microphones. But anyway, all right. Up next, Cincinnati UCF. This is where College Game Day is going, which I despise with every ounce of me. I really wish that they were going to New York this weekend, but they finally had to give UCF some love. And Bryant, you can take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take UCF. Mackenzie Milton, he's a really good quarterback. UCF, probably the best team in the group of five, so I'm taking UCF.
Okay, and like I said, this shouldn't be the College Game Day game, but they're just gonna go to UCF. They're finally gonna give them some love. I would pay part of the money for someone to fly over our championship banner on an airplane, like they did for the Louisville game. I would so do it, but at the end of the day, neither team's great, but UCF's better, so I'm going to take the Knights here.
Yeah, me too. UCF is definitely not as good as they were last year, but they're definitely good enough to beat Cincinnati this week. And Mackenzie Milton's a really good quarterback, so I think UCF will win.
All right. In our last game, of course, Citadel Hate Week. We're going Alabama Citadel, and I don't know who's taking it first, but one of y'all can.
I got Alabama 49-3.
Real simple. Okay. Out of all the November tradition things that happen in the world, the only one I care about is no score November, and I am all about no score November. I think Tua balls for about 3 drives, and then we put his tail on the bench. I think Quinnen gets a sack or 2. Fans leave before Dick Slot's even free because it's going to be cold and they don't want to watch, and we win 55-0.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I don't think that I think we'll do exactly what you said. The starters will get a few drives, and then our backups will come in and get a lot of experience. And I think that's where we're going to give up a little bit of points, not a lot. But I don't know how good the Citadel is, but
just for reference, I think Alabama won that cupcake game last year 56-0. So there's that.
Oh, and just think about it. Okay, so if you're a freshman, sophomore, you're second, third string, you're like, this is my game. You're about to go on the field. Saban says, get off the bench, put on your helmet, and then Mac Wilson comes up and it's like, yo, we haven't let up a point in 12 quarters. If you screw this up, you don't even go in that locker room if you'll give a point. I think they might have a chance. I think they do it out of fear.
I think it's definitely a chance. I just think that you're a freshman or sophomore, you haven't played a lot, you have jitters. If Mac Wilson says that, you're gonna have even more jitters. It's just a lot, and I think there's a very good chance we do shut them out. I'm just going 45-7 Bama.
All right. So we got to do a recount next week to see if me and Brian can take a step closer to the lead. Of course, Brian would take the lead outright, I think. I don't even know what it is. Hopefully, I can keep from being absolutely destroyed this week. And with all that being said, that wraps up the podcast for this week. We hope you all enjoy the game. Of course, not a whole lot to watch, so make sure you listen to some of our other podcasts. We have the Days on Ingram interview still on Apple Podcasts and YouTube. Make sure you listen to it there. Subscribe anywhere that you get this podcast, and subscribe to us on Twitter. Have a good day and a happy game day.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.